Hello guys and welcome back to episode 3 of our La Liga career mode here with Girona. We're returning today off the back of our disappointing loss away at the Nou Camp to Barcelona, who currently still sit top of the tree unbeaten, although it has been a fantastic start for Girona in third place. Best defence in the league and the second highest scorers as well, as we sit 6 points behind the league leaders at Barcelona. We got through loads of games in La Liga in the previous episode as we're trying to rattle through season 1 of the save pretty quickly. We're going to do a similar thing today, try and get through around 8 to 10 games, but we're going to start off with a youth academy update. So we also see another bit of bad news as Savio added to the treatment table. We've already got 2 players out, Arnau Martinez and Ivan Martin, and now Savio will join them on the injury list as he will be out for a month. As for our scouting, of course, we know we're being a little bit selective with who we're promoting. This guy, Xabi Rojas, looks like he could be decent, high starting overall. And Jean Cortez as well. We've scouted him for 2 months. Looks like the potential is pretty high. But again, we're going to keep the scouting on these lads from Spain. Nobody making it to the youth academy just yet. Well, unfortunately, it's another dud month for Brazil and Ukraine, as there's nobody that we're even going to continue scouting for now. Here's a look at the youth academy, as some of the potential ranges seem as if they're starting to set now. Very excited for a few of these players, and there is a chance that potentially in January, if we see some of our loan players being recalled, that we call some of these guys up. I mean, Diogo Martins is probably good enough to be in the first team squad already, so we may potentially look to give him a scholarship or just wait until next season. But it is Deportivo Alaves up in our first game of today's episode. You can see the lineup here, 3 key injuries for Martin Martinez and now Savio as well. So this is how we line up for today's game as we look to close out the calendar year with a couple of victories. Vamos, Girona. We've done a fantastic job in these early stages of the campaign of just making sure that we beat the teams below us in the league. I don't really mind if we're losing to the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, even Sevilla, who are having a good season as well. I don't mind if we lose to those teams, but we've got to make sure we've beaten the teams that we consider to be probably below us in the table. And Deportivo Alaves currently sat in the relegation zone. We have to be eyeing another 3 points today. We've got off to a fantastic start. Valeri with his first league goal of the season. Could pressure this from Alaves, but it's well cut out in the end. And now we look to come forward. Chavez with Valeri in space. And the touch sends him through. It's actually a brilliant first touch. And Valeri completely misses the target. But we should really be leading by 2 after that chance for Valeri right at the end of the first half. But the second should come here, and does, with the main man, Artem Dovbyk. You put him in front of goal and he's not going to miss. La Liga's top scorer for a reason. Herrera through the gap to Dovbyk, looking to get away from his man. Dovbyk lets fly. It's fantastic from the big man, Artem Dovbyk. Suslov into Stuani. These two creating a nice little partnership. Suslov into Bernabe, dinked in for Stuani, and it's the veteran with his second goal of the season. Christian Stuani, loved around these parts, off the bench to round off the victory for Girona. Yeah, it's a really convincing victory for Girona as we look to close out the calendar year strong. Got one final fixture in December, but there's a reason Deportivo Alaves are currently in the bottom 3. Absolutely torn apart today by Dovbyk and co. Well, we've just had the emails from Barcelona regarding Pablo Torre and Eric Garcia, advising that they're not happy with the number of games they've played. I get it with Pablo Torre. I don't think, yeah, he's not featured at all, as he's just so far down the pecking order. I get it. They've loaned him out. They want to get him experience, but for Eric Garcia, he's played 10 of our, I think, is it 17 games that we've played we may have to look at potentially giving one of the young lads, potentially Ledesma, a call up to the first team just as cover for this second half of the season. Same with Martins to replace the absence of Pablo Torre. We'll see what happens come January, but I think we're going to be losing a player or two. But we have got one more fixture before we head into January, and it's Real Betis away from home, where we've cut the gap to just 3 points at the top as Barcelona have lost their first game of the season. Who was it against, though? Where are they? Typical. Don't you just love football? Valencia, rock bottom without a win, are the first team to defeat Barcelona this campaign. So gap close to 3 on Barcelona, and although we can't be top heading into the new year, we can go level on points with them here if results go our way. Vamos, Girona. So travelling to Seville here is Eric Garcia. I've given him a chance in the team today, and he's now hit the deck. We're just not having any luck with our injuries. Looks like it will be just a bruise for the low knee, but yeah, apologies for the kits in this one. The ones that have been assigned are very, very similar, and I'm finding it quite difficult to see who's on my team. But of course, travelling to Seville, where we did beat Sevilla, as Zygankov forces the save out of Silva. So been a happy hunting ground so far, Seville. Can we make it 2 wins in Seville this season? Well, Artem Dovbyk, if he continues scoring like this, is going to have a record-breaking season for Girona. Gives us the lead once again. Was the top scorer in real life with 24, and he's already nearly matched that just halfway through the campaign. Well, there is the whistle in Seville, and I won't lie, guys, that was an absolutely atrocious game. Probably one of the worst I have played in FC24. The kit clash really put me off and sort of threw me off my usual rhythm. We do end the calendar year with a victory, thanks to Artem Dovbyk notching up another goal in the league this campaign. As I say, not a classic, but it is a winning end to the year for Girona. And that will do it for the first half of the La Liga season. We're actually 1 game short of the halfway stage, but as we head into the winter break, where we've got a couple of weeks off, it's Real Madrid who leapfrog Barcelona to go top. Then Girona just a further point behind. Atletico Madrid making up the top 4, and Villarreal currently in 5th place. There's then a bit of a gap down to Getafe in 6th. So good news for us as we look to hold on to 4th spot come the end of the season. And it has been a fantastic first half. Currently, Valencia, Deportivo Alaves and Granada sitting in the bottom 3. And as we head into the new year, as I've mentioned, I am a little bit worried that we're going to lose a few players come the 1st of January. So I'm just going to sim through here to 2024. And we'll see if we do lose any of those players. We've got a really tough game against Atletico Madrid to come, and it does look as if we've got some bad news. Pablo Torre recalled by Barcelona. I'm not too fussed about that one. And Eric Garcia also being recalled. That is bad news. As for Jan Couto, seems as if he's still here for now as Savio returns to training. Already a bid just a few days into the window for Christian Stuani, but again, he's done pretty well in limited minutes. He's a bit of a club legend, so he's not going to be going anywhere. We've got a scouting update here, but unless there's anyone major that's going to make it into the youth academy already, I won't show you as we've only just gone over this a couple of minutes ago. Well, we are going to have someone making the academy. Look at this guy, Santiago Montoya, 2.9 market valuation, might be the highest that I've ever seen. Only 1 month's worth of scouting, but 81 to 94 potential. I'm not letting him go anywhere. He's going straight in the youth academy with a scholarship. Again, for Brazil and Ukraine, not really finding anyone, but here is Santiago Montoya. Definitely looks like he could be one to keep an eye on in the future. He's actually come out of the academy as a centre forward. Now, looking at his stats, it's going to take him ages to convert to striker due to the low heading and strength. We could convert him back to an attacking midfielder or potentially a winger. I think for the time being, I might look to bring him back to CAM and get him in those midfield positions. So with Garcia being recalled by Barcelona, we now only have 2 out-and-out centre-backs in the squad in Daley Blind and Mosquera. Of course, we're not going to have to rotate too much with no European competition, but if we do get an injury, we could be a little bit short at centre-back. So although I don't really have any plans in January, we may have to make an emergency move to bring somebody in. We've got Atletico Madrid to kick off 2024 as third, host fourth, looking to keep pace with the top 2. Vamos, Girona. Well, chances pretty few and far between in that first half. Tight and cagey game, but we have done a good job of competing with Atletico, which we failed to do really against Barcelona and Real Madrid as well. But we've competed well in this first half, and we have forced Oblak into a couple of saves. Here's Valeri looking to... He has dropped in, looking to beat Oblak at his near post. And Valeri, who's in for the injured Savio, does manage to beat Jan Oblak at that near post. How did he squeeze that in? I thought it had dropped behind. Had no one in the middle, so just pulled the trigger. Well, there is the whistle, and we do manage to cling on to our first scalp of the season. Fantastic 3 points against one of the big 3 in Spain. Atletico Madrid become the first of those big 3 that we defeat after losing to Real Madrid here and Barcelona at the Nou Camp. Fantastic result for Girona, which will move us even further clear of Diego Simeone's side. Fantastic victory for Girona. But we've actually had our first round draw for the Copa del Rey, where we will take on Celta Vigo in the round of 32. Of course, we defeated them earlier on in the season by 7-0. So although I would have rather have faced a Segunda Division side, I fancy my chances of beating Rafa Benitez's side again. I'm not too focused on a cup run this season, as I'm more focused on getting into the top 4. But if we do get into the latter stages with the backup brigade, then I will not be complaining. Vamos, Girona. Obanave, or was that Suslov? One of the two. Nicks the ball high up the pitch. And Mateo Joseph, wow, what a miss. Oh, it's a dangerous cross, and there's the opening goal. It's been a pretty poor half. Girona probably having the better of it, but just haven't had the quality to open the scoring. Valeri, lovely skill. Gets away from one and a second. Still Valeri. Lovely feet. Valeri, oh, what a goal. And he's starting to find some form in the absence of Savio. It's his 3rd goal in, I think, 4 games. And the young Spaniard taking his opportunity in the Girona squad. Fantastic solo effort. Mingueza down the right-hand side as... Oh, it's a fantastic cross. And Jorgen Strand Larsen, I believe it is, heads in Celta Vigo's 2nd of the night. And that may well be enough to send them through to the last 16 of the competition. Well, there is the whistle. And it is Celta Vigo who get revenge after that 7-0 thumping earlier on in the season in the league, as they will head into the last 16 of the competition. We just don't have the strength in depth at the moment to be able to compete in multiple competitions. It is something that we're going to have to look at next season, as it's likely we're going to be playing in Europe. And at the moment, as I say, the squad just not thick enough. The backup brigade falls short, and Celta Vigo knock us out in the first round that we enter in the Copa del Rey. So that defeat in the Copa del Rey does mean that we of course depart the competition, although we would have faced Atletico Madrid in the next round, so I'm not too fussed at the fact that we have departed. It means that we can focus on the second half of the La Liga season, now at the halfway stage, just a few points behind Real Madrid and Barcelona. Atletico Madrid and Villarreal still on our tails, and Sociedad and Almeria both having good seasons as well. But it's looking good in our charge for the top 4. We face Almeria next, and a win here will really see us pull away from Almeria and create a gap at the top 6 in La Liga. Vamos, Girona. Dovbyk in need of a teammate. Valeri is on down the left-hand side, and Valeri into the area. Valeri tried to catch out Maximiano as he did Jan Oblak earlier on in the episode. The corners swung in towards Dovbyk and headed away, and that is the closest either side has come in that first 45. Really tight and cagey game, as it was in the reverse fixture. Now Chavez out to Valeri, the man of the moment. Back down the line to the Mexican Chavez. Whips in an early cross. Zigankov in the middle. Oh, that is special. What a way to open the scoring. Viktor Zigankov with probably the goal of the season. That is fantastic. Chavez down the left swings the cross in, and Zigankov off the ground with the Ibrahimovic style scorpion kick. Oh, that is special from Viktor Zigankov. Probably been our second best player this season behind his compatriot Dovbyk. And that is, personally, I think, goal of the save. That is fantastic. Well, Girona almost there as we enter stoppage time. And that interception, I was going to say by Solis might be enough, but still Almeria have it. Last chance for the home side. Glatzel. Dangerous ball. Nicely worked. Couto dives in and judged to have won the ball. Well, that must have been very, very close from the Brazilian. I thought he might have just got there after a touch from the Almeria man, but he must have got a little toe on the ball first. Girona victorious over Almeria once again, as we look to keep pace with Barcelona and Real Madrid at the top of the table. And it's been a decent little run of form this for Girona in the league, and it's another narrow 1-0 victory. Well, interesting bit of news here as we see that Valeri's release clause has been met by RB Leipzig. Now, I know that in Spain, I think all players have to have a release clause. It's not something I've stuck to in this save, as it's just too difficult to keep up with. But Valeri's had a very, very good run of form. Of course, only credited with 2 goals, but I think he was quite unlucky not to get the one that was given as a Jan Oblak own goal. Grown 2 ratings up to 78 overall, and I quite like him as a squad player. He's got 2.5 years left on his contract, and we could definitely get more money for him if we were to sell him than that release clause. So I think I'm going to negotiate. If he wants to put another release clause into the contract, then I'm happy to up it. But I don't really want to let him leave for that low of a fee. So I have just sat down with Valeri and his agent, giving him an additional 1 year on his existing contract, also giving him a wage increase to 25 grand a week, and removed that release clause. So he actually becomes one of our higher earners in the squad. But yeah, didn't really want to let him go for just 20.7 million. So I know realistically all players would have a release clause, but for me that one just doesn't make much sense. Right, so with Valeri's contract sorted, we're going to jump straight on into the next game. It's Sevilla at home at the Estadio de Montilivi as we jump above Barcelona into second place and just 2 points behind the leaders Real Madrid, although it is still very, very close down to 5th place Villarreal. So Savio is getting back to fitness, but Valeri keeps his place in the squad for now, and all that's given away. Gutierrez and Dovbyk. Been a few goals since Dovbyk has scored, as that's tipped onto the post. Few games, since Dovbyk has scored. It's been a little mini drought for the Ukrainian, who hasn't really gone more than 2 or 3 games this season without scoring. He has done now. I wouldn't put it past him to end that today and get back on the score sheet. Of course, we had that cracker early on in the season that finished 3-2 to us in Seville, and Chavez, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, Chavez, what a finish. first goal for the club for Luis Chavez. Of course, in the squad with Ivan Martin down injured. It's a lovely run, a fantastic pick out. And the finish is as deft as you like from the Mexican. Dinks it over the onrushing Nyland. And it's a beautiful little finish into the back of the net. Januzaj into the vet, Jesus Navas. The Belgian once again. Intercepted by Gutierrez, and now Valeri with bodies ahead of him. Chavez back to Valeri. And Dovbyk in the centre. Dovbyk! It's a fantastic header. And I said earlier, I feel like he's going to be back on the score sheet today, and he is. Another assist for Valeri, who continues his good run of form. But it's Dovbyk, the league's top scorer, who doubles our lead and surely wraps up the points for Girona. Fantastic header. Well, that second goal from Dovbyk is enough for Girona to hold on to all 3 points. Another fantastic victory, another goal for Dovbyk, and another clean sheet for Girona as well. Even with the lack of depth at the back and potentially a lack of strength in depth, we are continuing to keep teams out, and it's another closeout for Girona. So Celta Vigo up next, away from home once again, this time in the league, and looking to make sure we don't fall to defeat as we did in the cup. Third time that we face them this season, looking to pick up our second victory. Vamos Girona. Of course, we lost here just a few in-game weeks ago in the cup, but looking to make sure we right that wrong in the league. We'd made a lot of changes for that game, and this man was not in the lineup for that one. Artem Dovbyk with another. It's taken under 5 minutes for us to open the scoring here. Garcia, the top assister, to Dovbyk, the top scorer, and you know the outcome. This time, Celta Vigo are not going to beat us. Chavez picks up the loose ball. Herrera, Dovbyk ahead of him. Dovbyk for 2. You know the rest. Dovbyk makes it 2. And he's the league's top scorer for a reason. You cannot give him chances like that. The Ukrainian with another brace. And Girona surely on for another 3 points. Well, it's another really convincing victory for Girona. Another clean sheet for the boys at the back, and Tenyas as well. But it's Artem Dovbyk with both goals that secure the victory. Again, it's comfortable, and Girona just continue to march on. We're into transfer deadline day here, and of course we've still not really addressed the issue of Eric Garcia going back to Barcelona. Now, I am trying to bring in another defender on deadline day, potentially a free agent or a loanee until the end of the season. I'll keep you posted if we can bring anyone in. Now, my first port of call is actually to try and bring Eric Garcia back in on loan. But they're not happy to let him go, so we're going to have to potentially look at some different options here. I'm just heading into negotiations here with Chelsea, and that is for Trevor Chalobah. Now, I just want him on a short-term loan, and it seems as if this may be one that we're able to pull off. And there we go, as we receive confirmation of Trevor Chalobah entering the building. Not sure what rating he's going to be, but on a short-term loan, there's no real risk involved. He's going to be 78 overall, so he's more than good enough to step into the team when needed. To be honest, since Eric Garcia was recalled, Mosquera and Blind have built up quite a nice partnership. But with how short we were in that defensive position, I just couldn't afford not to bring somebody in just so that we can rotate if we need to due to injury or fatigue. So I think, to be honest, I'm quite happy with a 24-man squad moving into the second half of the campaign. Obviously, Pablo Torre was recalled by Barcelona, but I'm not too fussed about bringing anybody else in. What I was thinking of potentially doing is promoting Diogo Martins from the youth academy, but I don't want to affect his potential. So I think I'm just going to wait until the summer as I don't think he's going to ask for a pro deal until the beginning of next season. So I think I'm just going to leave things as they are for now, and we'll play out the second half of the campaign with 24 players in the squad. Now, I was just looking through my my transfer shortlist. I've got so many names on there, but when I was looking for a centre-back, I was looking at Man City. Of course, we've got the affiliation with them to see if there was anyone we could potentially bring in. Now, not a centre-back, but Sergio Gomez, if they are willing to negotiate for a loan. I was looking at him for next season as a backup left back to Gutierrez, but if they'll let him come in on a 6-month loan and then potentially for us to reconsider in the summer with an option to buy, then I'm happy to sort of give him a trial run in the second half of the season. Let's see if City will allow us to negotiate. Of course, City would probably prefer that he's getting some first team football again. The wages are quite high, so I'm going to try and lower that slightly. And with Man City being our affiliate club, they're happy to pay most of Sergio Gomez's wages. And there it is. It looks as if Sergio is going to head to Girona for the second half of the season. And he joins Yan Couto in from Manchester City on loan. And that will do it for deadline day. Pretty happy with our business. Wasn't really looking to bring anyone in with just a couple of million quid in the budget. Not even that after some contracts were given out. So yeah, happy to bring in those guys on loan as the transfer window closes. We've got another month's worth of scouting, which I'll run through quickly now. And I'd also like to play the first game of February as we take on Real Sociedad in a big game in the race for the top 4. So, big game against Real Sociedad to close out today's episode as they look to keep pace with us at the top. There is a bit of a gap starting to form between the top 4 and the teams below, and a win here will see that gap increase even further. Massive game before we face Real Madrid, which will come at the beginning of the next episode. Vamos, Girona. Here's Bryce Mendes, loses out to Daley Blind. And Blind forward to Zigankov. Lovely feet from the Ukrainian. Looks to bend one on, it's snuck in. Now scored in both fixtures against Real Sociedad this season. Lovely skill to come inside, and it might take a little nick off the defender on its way through because it seems to catch the keeper out. And yeah, it does. It comes off the knee of the defender. Zigankov will claim it, and it's another goal for the Ukrainian in what has been a fantastic campaign for him. Kubo coming in field. Good ball to Oyarzabal, back to Kubo. Shot comes in, and Tenyas has to palm it away and behind for the corner. That corner goes short to Kubo. Swung in, dangerous ball. Tenyas keeps it out for now, and again at the second attempt to Sociedad pushing for that equaliser. And that will do it for Girona. It's another clean sheet and another big win in La Liga as we just keep grinding out those victories. It's what the best teams do, even when they're not at their best. And despite not playing our best, Girona still come away with all 3 points against a very, very tough Real Sociedad side. Fantastic way to end today's episode. So that is where we will leave it for today, and as you can see, it is getting very, very tight at the top of the La Liga table. Barcelona still sit top, but we can move above them with a victory in our next game against Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid and Villarreal not going anywhere either, and that gap is starting to appear between the top 5 teams. It's very, very close though. And with 15 games to play for Girona, we're still in contention for that La Liga title. Lots of big games to come in the next episode as we're going to get ever closer to the climax of the season in what could potentially be the penultimate episode of Season 1. Keep an eye out for it. It will be out over the next couple of days, guys, and I'll catch you for it very soon. Peace.